Hey, friends! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast with your host, Nicole
and Hannah. Come join us for some hopeful conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing.
Hey, Hallmarkies, we're back for another episode, and today I'm joined by my friend Betsie from the Hallmark Happenings podcast to chat about Hallmark Channel's A Holiday Spectacular, starring Anne Margaret as Grandma Margaret, Carolyn McCormick as Elizabeth Bingham, Eve Plum as Harriet, Jenna Claire Mason as Maggie, Derek Kleena as John, Elle Graper as Lucy, Byron Jennings as Grant Bingham, the Radio City Rockettes, Tiffany Denise Hobbs as Alice, Larissa Schmitz as Janet, Sarah Gallo as Sophia, and Dylan S. Wallach as Ben. It was directed by John Putch and written by Julie Sherman Wolfe. In 1958, Margaret is an heiress from Philadelphia who puts her high society wedding plans on hold in order to sneak up to New York and make her secret dream come true, dancing live on stage in the Christmas Spectacular at Radio City Music Hall. My first question for you, Betsie, is what did you love most about this movie?
Everything. I have to say, I actually just finished it before we talked. It was my favorite Hallmark movie possibly ever made. It was just spectacular.
It was really good. Yeah. I think it's going to be in my top favorites for this year as well.
Totally. It was so different, which I very much appreciated. And great script by Julie Sherman Wolfe. So big kudos to her.
Yes. Have you ever seen the Radio City Rockettes live in person?
Oh, no, never. But
I have not either.
That'd be an experience. It definitely, it was amazing. Yeah, I'm sure it was great to watch on screen, but I'm sure they're even better live.
Yeah, I have been to New York, but never at Christmas and never seen them live. So, but it was fun.
Oh, I can imagine.
The first thing I really loved about this movie was how it was told in one long flashback with Grandma Margaret and her granddaughter, Lucy. That was awesome.
Yes, I thought that was a nice change. They don't often do that in these movies, and it helped give you like some nice perspective, I thought, like coming in from this different angle.
The first thing I really loved was when we see in the first flashback, Margaret, or as she goes by later in the movie, Maggie, watching the Rockettes performing at the Thanksgiving Day parade. That was awesome.
Or just like it's set up like what she would end up doing herself.
Yes. And I always watched the Thanksgiving Day parade on Thanksgiving Day.
Of course, it's a tradition. You have to.
Yes. One funny moment was Maggie wedding planning with her mother, and they're talking about the invitations, and Maggie says, perhaps we should just dip the entire invitation into diamond dust. And her mom says, oh, is that an option?
Yeah, I'm sure they'd be pretty pretty invitations if that was a thing.
Yeah. Also, what did you think, or what was your opinion on the whole kind of arranged marriage situation? I mean, I know it wasn't really arranged, but it was like planned out.
Yeah, I know the high society people. I'm sure that's just a thing. It's like with the royals, you have like alliances and everything that I guess that matter to them in their world. But yeah, definitely not super relevant today. But I mean, given this was also set in like the 50s, so it may have been appropriate back then, and that's not that long ago. But it kind of is.
Yeah. Maggie, when she says, shouldn't I already know the man I'm marrying? I mean, I've never been in a relationship with a guy, but I would feel the same way as her. Like, I want to know the man before I make that long-term commitment.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just like jump into something without having some knowledge of like, hey, who are you? Yeah, I totally agree with that.
We see Maggie. She eventually goes to New York and she reunites with her friend from summer camp, Kitty. I thought the scenes with them, although there were very few, were nice.
yeah, and she played an important role in kind of
Yeah.
catalyst in her telling her parents. So
Yeah.
Kitty, yes, Kitty played an important role.
Yes, because Kitty was the one that was basically covering for her friend.
That's right. Absolutely.
The meet cute with John. What did you think about that?
Well, I thought it was sweet. I mean, obviously, you know where it's gonna
Yeah.
go, but I thought it was great. They had like I feel like multiple meet cutes, like with the bag, and I thought it was like 2 or 3 meet cute, so it was perfect. I liked them together.
I did too. Yeah. I thought it was funny how she said, I'm waiting for the doorman. And Rose, the apartment manager, was like, we don't have doormen.
You know, that one of my favorite rom-coms is Runaway Bride, and
That's a good one.
yeah, in the beginning, Richard Gere is like he's on walking in New York City, and he walks by this fancy like apartment, and
Yeah.
there's a lady getting out of a limousine, and he goes, "Ma'am, I'm doing an article on people who've never ridden in limousines. Do you have anything to add?" And she goes, "I'm sorry, I don't know people like that."
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm just like, so that's kind of like this, like that high society. Where's my doorman?
Yeah. I haven't seen that in a long time, but that is a good movie.
You gotta rewatch it.
Yeah.
Absolute classic.
Yes. The scene with Maggie meeting her roommate Sophia, that was really nice. And Maggie's just sitting on the bed and she looks out the window and she's like, what am I doing? And then Sophia walks in and she says, you're helping me decorate for Christmas. That's what, Maggie. But it's not Thanksgiving yet. Well, what can I say? I'm festive. And then, she goes to put up the tinsel or the garland on the window and she says, and one thing you should know about me is I talk a lot. So if we're going to be friends, you got to tell me if I'm talking too much, or I'll just keep talking and talking and talking. And I'm doing it right now. And I can't believe you didn't say anything.
She was fun. I loved her character. She
Yes,
added
I
a
love
lot.
Sophia.
They were great. I mean, I just loved how they had these side characters, which I
Yeah.
feel like every one of these movies always has a side character, but it was like
Yeah.
so much more with this one. It was the
Mhm.
camaraderie and everything. It was great.
Yeah. Of course, I love the romance between the male lead and the female lead, but I loved how the movie wasn't focused on that. It was focused on the friendships with all the Rockettes.
Absolutely. It was
Yeah.
that's what it was more about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like when they sometimes change it up and it's not the sole focus of a movie.
Yeah, the female friendships and the
Yes.
camaraderie. No rivalry at all.
No, and I will say, I mean, they need to include more of that because they're more important than the romantic relationships. I mean, let's get real. That
Yeah.
girls stick together.
Yes. And even Alice said something along those lines sometime in the movie, I think twice.
Mhm.
We need to stick together.
That's right.
Yeah. I thought another really nice moment between Sophia and Maggie was when she was talking about her sister.
Yeah, that was.
It was a deep conversation, but it was a good one.
Yeah, that's usually like a parent,
Yeah.
that isn't there. And then I think
Mhm.
again showing like other types of relationships that can be just as meaningful. And then it definitely brought
Yeah.
some seriousness to the moment. But
Yeah.
then it's like I'm gonna be your new sister, that's what I
Yeah.
felt like.
That was awesome. I also thought it was funny when Sophia offered to help Maggie fold laundry. She said something along the lines of, I'm guessing you had help with this at home.
Chances are.
Yeah.
She had to learn firsthand how it works.
Yeah. Maggie and Sophia going to Gimbals and running into John. That was funny.
Gimbals is I instantly thought of Elf. I didn't know Gimbals was like a real thing. I always think of Elf when he goes to work at Gimbals. So apparently Gimbals is real if you're in New York City.
Yeah. I think I've heard of it. I've just never been there.
Yeah, well, Will Ferrell knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. I think it's a department store, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Like Belk or Dillard's or any of the other ones, which I cannot remember the names of right now. But
Macy's,
Macy's.
Neiman Marcus,
Yeah, Bloomingdale.
Nordstrom, JC Penney's, Kohl's. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. I loved when John and Maggie were looking at the Nutcracker pin in the Christmas Village, and then they are talking about their dreams. He's talking about studying photography, and she's, of course, talking about her dream of dancing at Radio City Music Hall. That was really nice.
It was. Then of course you have the full circle with the pin at the very end.
Yes.
And then of course the Nutcracker with them dancing up in that dance. So yeah, I thought it was sweet. It had lots of great meaningful moments. Maggie and John did great little conversations where they got to like develop their relationship. Because sometimes on these movies, I'm like, there's not enough like conversation, and then they somehow fall in love. But I'm like, this one, you could see it. I could like totally tell that they had to develop something, especially since she didn't even talk to her fiance.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments in the movie was when Maggie sees John at the Christmas tree lot, and just that whole evening that they shared together. He bumps into her with the Christmas tree, and it was something along the lines of, I guess that's payback. And John says, "You think I've plotted my revenge on the off chance that you'd be wandering the Christmas tree lot 3 blocks from your apartment on Thanksgiving night?"
You never know.
Never know.
With these movies, you never know.
And then Maggie meets John's parents, and I loved how John offers to walk her around the city for safety reasons. That was really sweet.
Yes, and it was good. Yeah, you have your email escort making sure you're safe and experiencing all the city has to offer.
Yeah. Of course, the walk around the city when they get roasted chestnuts, and it cuts back to present day with Grandma Margaret and Lucy in the theater talking for a minute. And Lucy says something about, "Grandma, I thought you loved roasted chestnuts." And then, she tells her how she started loving chestnuts, and it cuts back to the past. And the line that made me laugh from John is when he says, "Also, the song isn't pecans roasting on an open fire."
I wish it was. I love pecans.
Yeah.
It was clever though. I thought that was cute.
Yes. Also him joking around about how he could make snow happen. She's like, "How did you do that?"
I thought of Gilmore Girls. I don't know if you watch Gilmore Girls.
Yes,
but
I
she's
have.
always you have. Yeah, Lorelai's like, "I smell snow." He smelled snow.
Yes, I love Gilmore Girls.
Oh my gosh, it's my 5th time watching it right now. Anyway, we could go on. We're gonna go off track because that could open up hours long conversations. Yes. But anyway, back to A Holiday Spectacular.
Yes. Seeing the violinist and him playing the first Noel, and John taking the photo of Maggie, and then them sharing a dance. That was really nice. The dance was one of my favorite moments.
It was. I think they had great chemistry, but it was also not just like chemistry. It was just like sweet, just like a sweet relationship. Just them getting to know each other. And yeah, I loved the photo, especially when they showed at the end of the movie to her mom. Yes. She's like, "Okay, this is what my daughter looks like when she's happy." I almost wonder if she'd never really seen that before, just like that moment in time. So that, it was sweet how that photo comes full circle at the end.
Yeah, I loved the first show with the Rockettes. That was really nice. And then the walk through town after, and Maggie is talking to Sophia about John. Sophia's asking all these questions, and she says, "Time to let the cat out of the bag." And Maggie says, "There is no cat." And Sophia says, "Please, it's a lion. Talk."
Yes, I laughed out loud at that one. I thought that was so clever. I was like, "Oh, it's so funny."
Yeah. And then of course they see John and Ben with the Christmas tree, and Sophia says, "I don't look at my friends like that."
See, it's all in the looks. It's how are you looking at that person? It tells everything.
Yes. Another favorite moment in this movie is when everyone was in the common room decorating the Christmas tree, and John and Maggie were talking about his favorite color, his middle name, what brings him the most joy. And of course, at this point, he shows Maggie some of his photographs, and one is of her.
Yeah, it was like the same thing. Like she was like, "I've never seen myself that happy." Yeah. It was the same thing. And then I've got a reference. I'm just referencing every movie ever made. I don't know if you've seen Coming to America with Eddie Murphy.
Oh.
Okay, it's from the 80s. It's a funny comedy, but he has an arranged marriage, and he's like, "Well, what do you like to do?" "Whatever you like." And he's like, okay, well, what's your favorite movie? Whatever your favorite movie is. He's like,
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that scene, but I've never
yeah.
seen the movie.
And he's just like, okay, you're basically I'm not getting to know you at all. So it was kind of, it reminded me of that. She's like,
Oh,
oh, you're telling me what you like. You're being open and you're not just telling me what I
yeah.
want to hear.
Yes. The thing about Maggie wanting to know the favorite color, the middle name, and what brings him the most joy, that is heard at the beginning of the movie when Maggie is talking to her mom, and then, they're also having the lunch or the dinner with Maxwell, her fiance. And, Maggie asks Maxwell the same kind of questions.
Yeah, and that was his response, like, oh,
Yeah.
you. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
You
come
make me
on now.
happy.
We're gonna get bored really quickly in this relationship. That's how I would
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah. Of course, I loved seeing Janet lighting the star on the tree. That was really nice.
Yeah, she had an interesting
Storyline.
storyline. I thought that was kind of different for Hallmark.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Mhm. The second show is a Rockette, and the reactions from John, his parents, and Ben, that was nice. And then it cuts to Maggie coming out of the theater, and she sees John and his parents. After his parents walk away, I love how John is talking to her, and he says, seeing you up there makes me even more determined to make my dreams come true, just like you.
Yes, it's like yeah, and that's a great message for anybody watching the
Yeah.
movie. Like, well, you know what? Maybe I will give something a shot that I
Yeah.
wasn't going to. A little push, a little inspiration. Even though I know this is make believe, but it's still people do that all the day, so it's all the time. So it's great.
The conversation backstage before the next show when they are talking about Frankie Avalon coming.
Oh, I know. I was like, Grease.
That was so cute. Yeah, I immediately thought of Grease in that
Probably
scene.
everybody did.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, Grease is the word.
Yeah. Beauty school dropout. I'm not gonna sing the whole song.
Can if you want to. No, I'm just kidding.
No way. I don't even remember all the lyrics word for word. So
You've
I'm
got
not
the
going to
dream,
even
but not the drive. See, that's like this movie. That's part of the song. But anyway.
Maggie and Sophia's conversation after seeing John and going to the Rockefeller Center to see the tree. Maggie comes clean about her being engaged to Maxwell, and Maggie tells Sophia that she's going to tell her parents the following morning that she's really in New York because she's a Rockette. And Sophia says, anything else you want to tell me that you've held back this whole time? And Maggie kind of puts her hand on Sophia's shoulder and she says, I don't like chicken parm. And Sophia says, okay, that's just not funny.
Yeah, I love that. That was funny. It was, great, funny, very funny moment of the movie.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah. I thought it was cute how Sophia wanted to try on the engagement ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See if it fits.
Yeah. This was a nice moment. It was really brief, but Maggie's conversation with Mr. Matthews, and, she was late. She missed the rehearsal, I believe. And that was because she was meeting with her parents. And Mr. Matthews can tell that something is going on. And Maggie tells him that, she's afraid to tell her parents before the show ends because she thinks that they're going to try to stop her. And he says, at some point, you're going to have to just let go of what other people expect you to be and just be who you are. That's really good advice.
Yeah, and she definitely took it when she tells her parents.
Yeah.
She didn't hold back. I kind of thought she might not say what was really going on, but then she
did. I did love how she stood up to her parents and stood up for herself and what she really wants in life.
I agree. It was great. She's like, you know what? I'm a grown woman. Here's what's going on.
Yeah. Another really nice moment was Maggie, Sophia, Jana, and Alice at the diner. Now, this is after Maggie and John have kind of had their argument or misunderstanding. And I loved the support from the women.
Yeah, I thought it was like, it just, you kind of saw how far they've all come.
The sisterhood.
It was, I thought that was really nice.
Yeah. Of course, we hear that Alice is going to retire from the Rockettes because she's been doing it a long time. And she doesn't want to leave, and neither does any of the other women there. And Sophia mentions how all of them will always be sisters. I thought that was really sweet.
It was like we were talking about the female friendships, and that was a nice, really nice element of the whole movie.
And we also hear Janice in that scene share her feelings about why she's never let herself have friends in the past. And that's because she always thought it was just a competition. Like no one really cared. It was just all about, I guess, getting to the top is what she was trying to say.
Yeah, that's tough to feel like you're constantly trying to measure up to somebody else, especially in, I'm sure, that kind of world with all these amazing dancers around you. You're like, I just hope I'm as good as y'all.
Yeah. I loved seeing John's parents being supportive, finally, of his photography and going off to school for that. That was nice.
Yes, they definitely were a little hestant at first, but it all works out as these movies do.
And I have to say, his photography is really nice.
Yes, he's a talented guy, wasn't he?
I'd love to know if he actually took those pictures or if it was just someone else, maybe in the props department.
Yeah, most likely, but you never know. Maybe he has.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
photography talent.
Some of the people on Hallmark love photography, so
that's true.
It's always possible. The conversation backstage on closing night when Mr. Matthews offers Alice the position as dance captain. That was really nice.
Yeah, another secondary character having a nice storyline to where it made it feel like a really filled out, if that makes sense, like movie. Like it was definitely full of different things. Yeah, it was sweet.
I would like to see another movie with more storylines explored.
I would like that too. That's a great idea. Who knows? Maybe it's in the works.
Yes. And you mentioned this earlier, but this is the moment when Maggie receives the Nutcracker pin.
Yes.
As a Christmas gift from John.
Yes. A cute pin too, by the way.
Yes. We get to the closing night of the show, and those performances were amazing. Like not just that night, but the other times we see it as well.
Yeah, it was great they included it like throughout the entirety of the movie. So you kind of got glimpses of it just as we went along, and they didn't save it for the last. That was nice.
Yeah. Maggie's mom making things right and being supportive of her dream and being with John. I loved how they made up.
Yeah, and I think like that John's mom was like, have you even seen this show? I think if you saw it, you might feel differently. That's kind of like a Ice Princess, another movie reference for you. Joan Cusack's character is finally seeing her daughter skate, and then she's like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That's the movie with Michelle Trachtenberg, right?
And yes, and Hayden Panettiere.
Yes, it's been a long time since I've seen that, but I have seen it. And I think I have it on DVD, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
One of Disney's better actual feature films.
I agree. Of course, I have to mention John and Maggie's conversation after she made things right with her mom. And she shows him the view that she has every night from the stage. And he tells her that she's beautiful and that he loves her. Of course, she says, I love you back. And then they share a kiss.
Yeah. And then it's like curtain call, and then of course it ends with a lovely kiss, as they all do. But I like that it was on the stage. It was perfect.
Yes. And I love how John said before they kiss something about, would you rather be with a grocer or a photographer? And she responds by saying, I just want to be with you. And then the kiss.
Yes, it was like, I don't care what you're doing with your career, just as long as we're together.
Yes. The scene cuts to present day again, and Grandma Margaret is in the theater with Lucy, and I don't have what they were talking about written down, but I think she was just encouraging her granddaughter. And then Grandpa John, of course, shows up, and he says, I should have known this is where you snuck off to. And we see John give Maggie a kiss on the cheek, which was so cute.
Yeah, that was sweet. It was kind of like it was just like the modern day. Here's where the culmination of
Yeah.
all these events has led us.
Yes. And, Lucy shows the pin that she's wearing, which is the Nutcracker.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And John says how she's making a legacy, I guess, by continuing to wear the pin.
Yes.
And then Lucy walks away and John turns to Maggie and he says, and it all started right here. Margaret follows up by saying, the happiest night of my entire life. And then they kiss. And then I love how it transitions again to the past.
Yeah.
With them kissing as their younger selves.
Yeah. It was kind of funny back and forth, but it really worked.
Yes. Very great cinematography.
Yes.
Film art there.
Totally.
I have some trivia to wrap up this episode.
Let's do it.
When was the first flashback at the beginning of the movie? Like when and what year?
Oh gosh, 1957, I think.
Yes, you got the year right. Yep.
And it was right when she was watching the parade on her TV.
Yeah, so it was Thanksgiving. Yeah. Good job. What is Margaret's middle name?
Marie.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. I loved when they were sitting at the table and Maggie asks Maxwell, what's my middle name? And he looks to her mom and she's like mouthing.
I know. I was like, oh, come on now.
I was like, you don't know her middle name? Come on now.
No, he doesn't know anything about her.
How many years has Alice been a Rockette?
10?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
And where does John want to apply to college?
NYU?
Yes.
Gosh, you're putting me on the spot here, girl.
You got a perfect score.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I was paying attention. I was trying to.
Yes. So what would you rate this movie?
Oh, 5 stars.
1 to 5.
I jumped the gun. 5 totally. I thought it was the perfect movie. Probably one of the best Hallmark movies ever made. Congratulations.
Yes, 5 out of 5 stars.
Like, I know they put a lot of effort into it, and it really was amazing. I was so impressed.
Yes, 5 out of 5 stars. Well, thank you so much, Betsie, for joining. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad we were able to finally connect, and we found a good movie that we both loved and that we were able to chat about. So I'm so excited to help promote this episode that we got to record, so everyone can listen in and see how they can partake in the trivia questions. See how they do.
Yes.
Well, thank you again, Nicole. It was so much fun.
Yes, we will definitely have you back in the future.
Oh, that sounds great. It was great chatting with you. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Yes. All right, Hallmarkies. I think that wraps up our recap of A Holiday Spectacular. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed and have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.